So, my dear friends, month of October, as I said, month of Mary, month of the missions. And therefore, perhaps I have this message for you today. Let me first begin with the message of the Gospels or the reading of this week, of this Sunday. The Gospel is beautiful once again. Perhaps it goes to the heart of the missions and the heart of Mother Mary also, namely humility. Humble, the prayer of the humble, the prayer done with all humility and simplicity to God. It's surprising that God leans towards the humble. Perhaps not that the others are not capable, the others have achieved much. Perhaps they may have achieved the wars of 1,000 soldiers, the buildings of so many things. Surely many people have achieved these things. There's no falsification of what they have done. But to think that God approaches or comes closer to those who have not done much, perhaps those who have not achieved much, but then they acknowledge it. That's called humility. We have the beautiful parable in the Gospel of Luke chapter 18, where these two persons go to the church or to their synagogue of their times. One is a Pharisee, another is a publican. These two characters are very much known in the Israelite tradition. The Pharisee is one who has learned much. He has achieved much. And the Pharisees were considered wise men, the elders. And therefore, having known the scriptures, they could quote up and down the scriptures. And they were also considered as models for the people. When they walked in a style, with their robes, with their attire, with their dress code. When they spoke very honorably, and therefore people took them as models. It's not that they have not done or they were not capable. They did it. So what's wrong with these Pharisees? Jesus finds faults because he goes to the synagogue and tells God, rather he declaims before God what he has done. He has said, I am a just man. I have done everything good. I have fasted, given alms, done charity. And unfortunately, he tries to compare himself with the others. I am not like the thieves. I am not an adulterer. I am not like that person, the other person who is not entered but outside the synagogue, the publican. And Jesus continues with the parable about the other man, the publican. The publican was one who was hated in the Israelite tradition. Their traditional job was to collect taxes from the people and give it to the government, that was the Roman government. And as you know, a certain percentage was left for him. What percentage, how much, and how much did he collect, how much did he perhaps give it to the government, that was not known. But everyone knew that the publicans were people who were cheaters. They cheated the people by taking a high tax, and they cheated the government by not giving all the tax itself. And therefore they were hated. They were not taken into public atmosphere, public gatherings. So in this atmosphere, a publican, one who is cursed, one who is not wanted, who is not liked by everybody, Jesus takes him as his model for prayer. Why? Because he stands outside and says, Lord, I am not worthy. I have not done anything. I am not worthy to come even inside the synagogue. And therefore, not even raising his head, he bows down and prays. And Jesus makes this comparison and says, whose prayer or rather whose disposition accepted by God? The one who is a publican, the humility. The first reading from the book of Sirach also says, the cry of the humble will pierce the clouds. The cry of the humble. So therefore we can ask ourselves why perhaps God prefers the humble, for three reasons. The first reason is the humble man. He has nothing to say, nothing to show, nothing to boast about, and therefore he knows who he is. He knows who is. All of us, perhaps even if we have done something at the heart of hearts, we can say that we are not worthy. So therefore, first of all, awareness of what you are. And secondly, I would say that it shows us the greatness of God. That what I have, what I am, is because of God. God's mercy and compassion. God has forgiven my sins. God has accepted me as I am. God gives me every day the things that I need and perhaps much more than that. And therefore, acknowledging God's worth. And thirdly, among the human relationship, when I say that I have not done much, surely perhaps someone will say that you have done something. But when I try to boast, when I try to say that I am the one who has done everything and who is doing and who is capable, many of us have got what's called this I sickness. I is not I. What you see, I is the capital I. The I sickness, ego, we call it. Ego. In Sanskrit, they call it aham. Aham. It's because of me. I have done it. I am capable. I can never do wrong. I will never say sorry. I will never bow my head. Perhaps this is the spirit that we need today, and we need it everywhere. We need it in society. We need it in church. We also have to acknowledge that we are not perfect. We priests, religious, perhaps even bishops, we are not perfect, and therefore we also can slip a little, but there's nothing wrong in asking people forgiveness, making apology, excuse, and be humble. That is what God is asking for. And it's not only in society, also in the family. In the family, husband and wife, perhaps they're always together, but they slip a little, they hurt a little, and so to say sorry. Sorry, the Holy Father has said that in the family, the word sorry carries much weight. When a husband says sorry to his wife, may not be big things, but even for the small, slight hurt that we have, the wife acknowledging husband and being humble to say that I am also sorry, please. And the children learn a lot from their parents' humility, and they also will try to be humble in as much as we give them the example of humility. And therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, may this virtue be a special virtue for you in your family, in your society, in your church, in your associations, in the place of work. Humility before God and men. I now go to the speciality of this week, or perhaps today itself, what's called the Mission Sunday. The Mission Sunday. The Mission Sunday is once a year celebration of the missions. It means much. I am so happy that in our Archdiocese of Bangalore, this day is celebrated like a festival. Many people look forward to it. All the associations get together. Some of our parish priests, for months they are planning, and a few days afterwards they are going. Small lotteries, small stalls, some food items, some games, etc. Everything to celebrate. So therefore the Mission Sunday is a day of celebration of our faith. That we are, first of all, God has given us a faith. God has given us birth. God has given us a family. God has given us a religion and faith. That I am a Christian. To celebrate, I am a Christian. To celebrate my baptism, my confirmation, my priesthood, all the sacraments. This is a celebration of our life, celebration of our faith, and therefore it's called Mission Sunday. And in this mission atmosphere, something that I am so happy about, I don't keep it for myself. Why do we cut a cake on my birthday and share it with everybody? Would have been nice if I cut the cake in my room and ate piece by piece whole day, 2 days together. No, I would like to share it with as much as possible. If I have passed my exams, will I keep quiet? My face itself shows it that I am so happy and I would like to share with everybody. So Mission Sunday is the day of celebration and also a day of sharing. We pray for all those people who have imbued in themselves the spirit of joy of the religion and want to proclaim to the others, to say to the others, I am a Christian, God has blessed me. I would like all you also to be blessed and surely be part of my life, my faith. And therefore, the ones who proclaim the word of God, the ones who preach, the ones who perhaps propagate our religion, we call them in some way, inverted commas, missionaries, because every Christian is a missionary. Our faith is not for ourselves. Our faith is for ourselves and for the sake of others. But then, proclaiming others what I am not is once again not a good thing. And therefore, what I am, I say to the others. And therefore, if I am a good Christian, if I am a Christian that practices faith, surely that would be the greatest celebration of Mission Sunday. The Holy Father, Pope Francis, has given a beautiful message for this Mission Sunday. You shall be my witnesses, taken from the Acts of the Apostles, and he elaborates and says that every one of us has a role to play. It's not only those who are preaching. We have two patron saints for the missions. One is St. Francis Xavier. He's the best example of preaching and proclamation, keeping nothing for himself, the sacrifice that he underwent, the hunger, the humiliation, and he did it. Surprisingly, we have another co-patroness of the missions, St. Teresa of the Child Jesus, the little flower we call it. And when you compare these both, Child Jesus, the St. Teresa of the Child Jesus, has not done much. She has not gone out. She was most of the time confined to her room, and in the last stages of her life, she died at the age of 24. She was almost bedridden. But then her prayers, her sacrifices counted. And therefore we can be missionaries, of course, by preaching and proclaiming. We can be missionaries also by praying for missions, praying for missionaries. And that is how perhaps we can contribute. We can also say, I will also contribute what we have, perhaps by money, by things, by my wisdom, by my literature, by my sacrifices, and by my prayers. This is what we call the Mission Sunday celebration, and I wish all the parishes that are celebrating it do it with joy, to say that I am proud to be a Christian. I am proud to be a man of God, a woman of God, and that's how God will bless us. In the month of the missions, as I said, October is the month of the missions and the month of Mary, and surely the Archdiocese has taken a wide and a great leap into the missionary animation. We have a commission for proclamation and evangelization, of which Father Prasad Anthony is the secretary, along with many other members. We had planned for the whole month, not just Mission Sunday, one day, but the mission month, the whole month of missions, the whole month praying for missions. So we planned two types of activities. One is called the Mission Hour in the church, which is, I would say, offline, or perhaps with physical presence of the members praying in different churches of our Archdiocese. And we have finished almost now 21 churches. Still another 4 or 5 churches are remaining, and I will be happy to announce that on 21st October it was St. Ignatius Church, 22nd October Sacred Heart Church, Silvepura, the Annunciation Church on 23rd October, Our Lady of Lourdes Church, Halsur, 24th October, and also in the next week we have Halsur once again, and the small Christian community also praying for an hour together with all their selected members, and the last day is taken by the FKCA. So this is the physical praying together for 1 hour for missions. Besides, we know that all the people cannot come to the church, to the one church that we have declared beforehand, and therefore we also have online clips about the missions, about the missionaries, about the mission activities, about the mission congregations. And it was a beautiful array of the missions that we have seen this month. I hope you were watching it online, our programs on the media. We had the beautiful program of the missionary Sisters of Queen of Apostles on 1st of October. And then it was Dr. Jayanand who gave his experience on the mission on the second day, the Redemptorist Theologate of Bangalore, and the life in the seminary. It was on 3rd October. The mission activities of the Adorers of the Blood of Christ was on 4th October. Mission activities of the Franciscan Hospitaller Sisters of Clara Southern was on day 5. Mission activities of Sal Society was on 6th. Mission activities Franciscan Sisters of the Presentation of Mary was on 7th of October. That's the day of the Rosary. Mission activities on 8th of October was the missionary families of Christ. You know, there are some families who have also given up their life, their jobs, and they are working among the families. And the Canossian sisters took the 9th day to exhibit their missionary activities. The Queen of Apostles, once again, in their missionary activities we saw on the 10th of October. Mission month and the celebration, the Sisters of Mercy of the Holy Cross on 11th of October. The Commission of Proclamation and Evangelization itself took on 12th October. The Carmelites of Mary Immaculate on 13th of October. Once again, the Canossian Sisters of Charity, Servants of the Poor on 14th of October. Franciscan Servants of Mary on 17th of October. And Come to Me, the children's group. You know, the children are the best missionaries because they are spontaneous. They have no fear. They will go and say anybody, and everybody to say that, please come with me to pray. Please join me in prayer. And when the children say it and do it, you know, your heart melts. And this children's group was organized. Children's prayer group was organized by a sister called Sister Margarita of St. Charles Borromeo congregation. And the MMI congregation took 22nd of October. And I am told there are a few more who are lined up. I hope those who have not seen up to now at least will start from today. Missionaries of Mary Immaculate is today. Brother Colin, lay evangelist, will give his testimony on 23rd. The CEC, the Catholic Inquiry Center, on 24th. The Sisters of St. Joseph of Tharbs will give on 25th. The Disciple Sisters will give on 26th. The Carmelite Sisters of St. Teresa will give on 27th. The Claretian Fathers will give the witness and also show an array of their missionary activities all over the world on 28th of October. And 29th, the Franciscan Servants of Mary, FSM Sisters, on 29th. So they are all lined up for the future coming days, and I'm sure you will try to see it and be part of this missionary experience and animation together. Now I take you to my pilgrimage. You know, pilgrimage is a beautiful thing. Why do people go on pilgrimages? First of all, perhaps a little breaking of the monotony of our daily life. When you go out, you see what is inside, what you are missing, and perhaps some little rest for your mind and soul also. And that's why we go to pilgrimages. I'm so happy in Bangalore, the pilgrimages are popular. Many people go to Valankani. There are others who go to Pondi Mata. There are some who goes not just pilgrimage, but a sort of a retreat to Potta. There are some who go to the other parts of India as pilgrimages. The pilgrimage is as literally walking with Christ, walking with that saint as it were to that place to experience certain joy, fulfillment, and asking God certain favors in our life. I myself went on a pilgrimage along with the fathers and the sisters who are working in the different departments in the Archbishop's house. We were about 17 of us went together to the pilgrimage of the place of Saint Devasakayam, Martyr Devasakayam. As you know, this saint has become very popular now On 15th of May, the Holy Father Pope Francis raised a saint from India to an exalted seat in heaven. Devasagayam, almost 300 years since he died, perhaps is a different type of a person. In fact, the Indian Church would like to take him as a model, a patron saint of the laity, because he was a layman, he was married. His history says that he was born in a religion that was not Christian. And he was, since he grew up with all the traditions, with all the cultural basis and background of Indian culture, he was almost a pailwan, a wrestler, a soldier, and a trusted soldier in the kingdom of Travancore. And he led soldiers into battle. Many of them he won the battles. And so one such battle was waged against the Dutch. And the Dutch were defeated, and their commander was brought into the prison. And surely at every battle, at every promotion that he was getting, Devasagayam was high in the sight of the king and also the people. But see how God works. This Dutchman was brought as a prisoner. He was in the palace as a prisoner, and perhaps Devasagayam would meet him quite often, and there began a friendship, a friendship of not just of sentiments but of faith. This Dutchman sort of gave Devasagayam many things about religion, about Jesus, about the Bible, and slowly his mind was turned towards God and the Christian religion. And so at the age of 20 or to 30 or so, he almost sort of became a Christian. He was baptized a Christian. But then baptism was the thing that brought a lot of unhappiness, not in him, but in the others. The people who saw him as a hero, the people who saw him as a soldier, the king who had trusted so much, and changing your religion and coming over to Christianity was something like a betrayal for him. But then Devasagayam, his name is Lazar. Lazar means the one who is servant of God. And therefore, Lazarus, he had nothing against the people. He had nothing against the king. He submitted himself to any punishment that the king would give, but not sacrifice his religion. He was a faithful servant of God, and he had fallen in love with Jesus. And so his persecutions was terrible. We went to this place, the different places where he was persecuted, where he was killed, and the place where he was born also. You know, those persecutions, if you see those pictures there, he was not only slapped and stripped, he was dragged by horses on the road, bleeding. He was made to sit on a buffalo. That's worse than sitting on a donkey for that tradition, for those people, humiliated. And ultimately, he was shot dead in Harombali, where we visited, the place where he was shot, the place where perhaps his body was brought down, etc. And it's a hill and hillock. And finally, he was buried in the Cathedral of St. Francis Xavier at Nagarcoil. And in this cathedral also, we were fortunate to see also the altar where St. Francis Xavier is supposed to have celebrated 400, 500 years ago. And that altar in that same church lies the body, the remains of Saint Devasagayam. It was a very inspiring experience for all of us, for me personally, because I have heard much of this saint, and to go to those steps, or rather those places where he lived and died, was a very spiritual nourishment for all of us. And I think in the month of the missions, perhaps he could be offered as one more of our models, as one who suffers for Christ and offers himself for the sake of the others. That is the greatest mission alive, mission in the name of God and the people. My dear friends, I now take you to the questions that are here. There are two questions. The first question is, why is church attendance or going to the church important? The second question is, the Archdiocese conducts Zoom classes for parents of couples who are attending marriage counseling classes. How do you monitor if the parents are actually attending and if the parents or someone else is attending? Why can't the classes for parents be attended at the same center? Nice questions. First of all, why is church attendance important? Is it not enough that I am a Christian? I will be at home, I can read the Bible, I can do my prayers. Why do I need to combine myself with a community? Socially, no man is an island, we say. Everyone has to be connected with someone or other. In our family, we are connected with each other. We are family members. In the place of work, we are connected to each other, and perhaps the coordination has to be such. For example, if you are working in a factory, the one person does about the bolts, another one does the nuts, another does this, another does this. A motorcycle factory, for example, everything has to be joined together. Everyone has to be together. It's like the clock with the different parts that are brought together. Even if one person does not work, the watch that is produced or the motorcycle that is produced will have a defect. So therefore we have to be connected. And so also in the matter of faith, we are not alone. We are pilgrims on the way towards God. And therefore we go together. We go together. The church is a family of families where perhaps we meet together. It's a community. It's a community. And therefore our faith is not just an interior disposition, but also an outward expression and experience with each other. And therefore, we need to go to the church, first of all. Our commandments say that at least on Sunday, the day of the Sabbath, we have to be in the church. And the day of the Sabbath is not just for ourselves alone, but it's for us to go and praise and thank God for what it has been in our life. Just as God carved out this day for himself in order to appreciate everything that he had done, including man. So also we are given that occasion and that special, perhaps individually and as a family, to come together to the church, to experience the community together. Where the priest celebrates the Eucharist, we all share in the same bread and blood of Jesus. And surely a little of social communication also takes place. I have not seen perhaps this particular family for a long time. Someone has come newly. The priest announces there is a need for someone. Someone is going to be operated. It's a very important operation, or perhaps something that can save or a person can die. And therefore we need to help each other. We need to know each other. And therefore the community, what we call the Christian community or the church attendance, is also important for us to know each other, to love each other, and to serve each other, as the traditional catechism says. And when we know each other, we love each other, we serve each other, we serve God, we love God, and we come to know God through each other. We can't see God, but God is present also in the community. Where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there I am, says Jesus. And therefore, the community coming together and experiencing our joy, our holiness, our prayers together is also important. The second question is regarding the marriage preparation courses or counseling that we are conducting, and the Family Welfare Center here in Palana Bhavan, of which Father Sunny Richard is the secretary, along with his other priests and the other members, has what we call weekends, the marriage preparation courses for the couples. There are many couples, hundreds of couples who come here, and 2 days they are given different inputs regarding the marriage, the sacrament of marriage, the spirituality of marriage, how the marriage partners have to be compatible to each other, to be faithful to each other, fidelity in marriage, and also the physical part, the human part, the emotions. All these things are put together in order to expose to the marriageables, to say that your marriage, of course, will be what God wants it to be, but then you need to prepare yourself. You need to put yourself in the hands of God and surrender yourself. But the question here is not about the marriage couples or the marriageables, but regarding their parents. The Family Welfare Center has started a beautiful practice because out of experience they have heard from the marriage couples, from the marriageables to say that we love each other, we want to live each other, but we have problems. And most of the time the problems are from the home side, from the parents of the boy, the parents of the girl, the brother, sister, together, the joint family, all these things together. And so they say that perhaps we have understood it's better that our parents also are given a slight of what it is. For example, to say that we are no longer children. We no longer have to be under the obedience and what we call the care and concern of the parents forever. We are adults. We know what we are. And sometimes give us that freedom, independence to be together, to always to not to be in the family or the joint family as such, but let us also have time for ourselves. Some would prefer to perhaps to separate and stay independently. But some of the parents are not very happy with this. No. You have to stay with the family. And sometimes the husband and the wife are torn from many sides. This side the father, that side the mother, this side the other brothers, sisters. And in this mixture, in this mix-up as it were, the husband and wife cannot have an intimacy that is destined for them. I have known of some boys who are accused that they have two women in their life, main women. One is the mother, one is the wife. Whom shall he lean towards? If he leans towards the mother, the wife perhaps will consider that she is not considered at all. If he moves towards the wife, the mother says, I have brought you up from all your life, and where, son, you are abandoning me just because this woman has come. So therefore, these are the pulls and pushes of marriage, and that's why the couples themselves requested us to say something to the parents. Yes, but there are some problems. As you know, all the parents are not young. The parents are 50, 60 and above, and to bring them to the Palana Bhavan is the best thing. But then we can imagine in Bangalore city, to move even 1 kilometer, sometimes you have to spend an hour or so waiting for the buses and the traffic jam, etc. And both of them to come together. If one of them is sick, one of them is not okay. And so in order to sort of take into consideration all these problems, the best solution was online. And they said that at the most, both the parents will be there. And both the parents, we tell the couples that come here, arrange in such a way that you have your mobile or perhaps your laptop, something, arrange for the parents so that they can be interactive with us. They can see also the other parents who are there. They can also talk, they can also listen to us. And the Family Welfare Center has got certain input sessions for the parents to tell them what to expect as the children are getting married, what is their perhaps expectations to be, and at the same time how they can make the marriage of their children very happy. As I said, this would have been best if it was done in a physical mode when all were present, but since it is not possible, and sometimes it may happen the father is sick, the mother comes alone, or the mother is sick, the father comes alone, both of them don't come together, sometimes they perhaps cannot come together, and the time factor is also there. But so far they have said the experiment on online has been very good, that so many parents are seen on the screen and many of them interact also, they ask questions also in different languages sometimes, and they are satisfied. At some time, perhaps in smaller groups, we can think of calling the parents, and it's up to you to motivate the parents to go for this distance, or perhaps the children themselves can bring them by through some vehicle and leave them. That could be a future possibility, but just now it's going on well. There's one doubt that has been expressed. How do you know online if the parents are attending or not attending, or perhaps some two people are standing there in front of you? We can't help it. We can't help it if people are cheating us in that way, but we have reason to believe that nothing of that is happening. Both the parents are there. The way they react, we can make out that they are the parents of the marriageables who attended our courses, and therefore they are profiting by it. If there is some stray case here and there, to bluff us, I think, bluffing cannot go on forever. If I give you a glass of water and say that this is what's called coconut juice, and you drink it and you say, no, it was plain water, what can I say? Both looks the same. So also we also could be perhaps sometimes misled, but that is not a big issue. The issue is the parents are listening, the parents have to be told, and the parents have to prepare their children for future. Perhaps the younger children, at least, they should start preparing them now. So my dear friends, I wish you a very happy Mission Sunday today, the last week of the month of October, which once again we repeat with Mother Mary's Rosary in our families, perhaps in our areas where the statue of Our Lady is taken round also, and especially praying for the missions. Thank you very much.
My dear friends, please do share your feedback, your impressions, and your experience, or send a message to the email address as you find on the screen, archdblr@gmail.com. And you also have the phone number, the mobile number, wherein you can send your message or WhatsApp on this number. Archbishop is ready and waiting to answer your questions. If you have any question, any doubt, any uncertainty, or there's no clarity upon something, you can ask those questions, and with the discretion that the Archbishop will surely answer these questions in the weekly feature Shepherd's Voice. Thank you, and we look forward to the next episodes.